Hello, my name is Talam Obadia, and I'm going to present my research proposal for business research methods module. My research is entitled The Impact of AI-Driven Decision Making on Strategic Leadership Effectiveness in Modern Organization. This topic is a very interesting one, and it addresses one of the most pressing challenges facing modern businesses: how to effectively integrate AI and the tools into the core strategic planning, and how to maintain an effective leadership in terms of a human element. The problem we are going to address is twofold. So first, we will reflect on the opportunity. Then secondly, we'll look at the dilemma presented by AI. So on one hand, AI offers immense opportunities, and it has really improved beyond simple automation all to the level of hyper automation in order to become a critical in order that it has become a critical component of any strategic activity within the organization. Look at it in terms of forecasting, predictive analysis, resource allocation, and many others. And the capabilities for speed and deep analytical processing far exceed any traditional human methods that are there. If you look at the opposite side or the dilemma, this efficiency comes with challenges, and leaders are grappling with critical risks, specifically questions to do with accountability, the potential for biasness in algorithm output, but also the over reliance on these tools. And therefore, the core problem we are going to tackle is finding the optimal balance between the algorithmic efficiency and the unique human aspects of leadership, things to do with ethical reasoning, intuition, contextual judgment, and all that. And moving on to the framework, there are three structures or three frameworks we are going to look into. That's the human AI collaboration theory, and this theory moves beyond viewing just AI as a simple tool, but it also positions decision making as a hybrid where leaders and machines collaborate or collectively share this responsibility, and this intelligence is actually distributed across. The second is around strategic leadership theory, where we will examine how AI directly transforms a leader by processing capabilities and their fundamental capacity to formulate and to control the whole organization direction. Then, of course, the third one is around social technical systems theory, where we look at AI as a new subsystems that inevitably redefine the internal dynamics and the power structures, workflows, and all hierarchies within the organization. And this essentially helps us to analyze organizational friction and how this friction has been caused by AI. If we look at the research gap that we are going to look into in this proposal, while the adoption of AI is well documented and most organizations are starting to really pick up, the literature reveals a significant and critical gap, which is what we are going to focus on as we address on this research. So the gap is the research confirms that AI enhances predictability and agility, no doubt about that, but there's a crucial lack of empirical evidence on how technological changes directly or measurably impact the core elements of leadership effectiveness itself. And the disconnect is around many leaders lack the necessary literacy or algorithmic literacy to fully trust or challenge some of the AI outputs, because someone gets an output and they can't challenge it because they don't really understand the logic behind it. And therefore, simultaneously, organizations lack then robust metrics to gauge these AI's effect on fundamental leadership qualities like good judgment, trust, and leadership strategic oversight, whether they can actually trust this AI for future decision. And therefore, this is a gap that this research or my research will aim to fill in and see what struggles are there and how we can be able to really fill in that gap. And therefore, if you look at this, the importance of why we are doing this, as stated in the problem, is the future of leadership lies in the ability of an individual to balance the use of an algorithm with human judgment. And therefore, failure to address this balance risks strategic misalignment and a lot of mismanagement within a business, and therefore this erodes the organizational trust within any particular organization, be it medium or even large. And therefore, the importance of this is we have to look at this and make sure that the businesses do not waste investments or perhaps erode that trust between the employees, but also their own stakeholders within the business. The research questions that we'll focus on is what is the role of AI-based decision making in the effectiveness of strategic leadership in modern organizations. And this is being backed up by sub-questions that we will look into. One of them is how does AI serve to increase or limit the scope and speed of strategic decision making? Secondly, what is the measurable impact of AI use on leaders' judgment and the trust that these leaders have on this AI, and even looking at the strategic foresight of this AI. Thirdly, which organization conditions, such as culture or training, act to mediate or change this AI leadership relationship. Fourthly, and finally, is how does the employee attitude towards the leadership shift when they know that the key decisions that have been made by their leaders has actually been facilitated, or AI had really a lot to do with it. And therefore, these will be key questions that we'll be looking into. And the significance of this, of course, from an academic point of view, is will contribute directly to the emerging body of AI and leadership in general. Then the other thing, of course, from an industry perspective or from a policy perspective, practically, is this research will inform the design of effective leadership development programs, whether it's from a government level or just industry policy perspective, how this can be able to be met. And for this context, of course, we will reference much into the Kenyan space, and the findings will aid the policymakers in creating digital skills framework and any regulatory guidelines that will guide the people in the field. And therefore, if we look at our the methodology that we will use, we will employ quantitative and cross-sectional design. And for data collection, we will be collected anonymously online through a questionnaire that will be distributed to these professionals within this space. And the target size will be at least 200 respondents who will request to be able to respond to this survey. And then thereafter, we'll be able to do an analysis of this data and come up with conclusions or discussions on the same. Now, looking at our hypothesis, 4 key hypotheses, so we'll be looking at this is: 1, AI use in decision making has a positive impact on strategic leadership effectiveness. The second one is strategic effectiveness is greater among leaders who are more algorithmic literate. So if you know how essentially how this AI work, then your effectiveness is greater. Third one is organizational culture is expected to moderate the relationship between AI and leadership outcomes. Then lastly is employee trust is predicted to mediate the perception of leadership effectiveness in AI environments. Looking at the evolution of this research, looking at the literature just around this space, there's really been a lot of conversations for the last few years. I'll probably just focus for the last 2 years, and the focus has shifted to human AI collaboration, and in the future how we can bring this together and marry how human beings are able to collaboratively work with AI for the future of businesses. Then for the scope, we will limit ourselves into 200 responses, at least 200, and we limit ourselves only to the Kenyan market. And then, of course, on the analysis, the core focus will be on the leader, this individual leader, and the decisions that they make for the betterment of the organization.